If you've followed me for a while, you know I try to look at the details of something and maybe talk about some things that otherwise don't get talked about. And so it's going to take me a few posts to cover everything we want to cover with the Slacker Digital Suspension Tuner. The first impression that I had was just slightly overwhelming. Everything's quite clear, but they had sent me the deluxe kit, so there were several components to account for here. The unit itself, a remote that attaches to your handlebar, and this virtual fender mount that lets you more easily measure on a mountain bike. I began by setting out the instructions, figuring out how they all work together, and it really didn't take very long, and then moved on to battery installation. So a couple screws come out, 2 AAAs go into the main unit, 2 AAAs go into the remote, and we're ready to pair. Pairing is as easy as anything else these days. Hold down both buttons on the main unit, hold down both buttons on the remote, and you're good. Once things got rolling and it was time to mount things up to the bike, I was initially confronted with the fact that I have pretty big dropouts on this bike, given that they're modular and you can swap them out, which meant that the mount for the unit that was included with the main system wasn't going to quite position itself close enough to the rear axle for my thinking. After briefly thinking I would try to be clever and use some type of 6mm bit to mount the unit, it turns out that the virtual fender mount includes really cool magnets that go right into your through axle and make this extremely easy. So I would recommend getting the virtual fender mount, if for no other reason that it makes that step super easy. That pressed in, I was ready to mount the unit, and at this point we really need to break things off into a future post with everything that happened after that.